put a fighter in your corner.
And welcome back to the Walton Law Firm Show. We are so happy and delighted that you join us. When I say that, Trip looks at me like, is he talking about me? You think people are excited
You
to see
talking about me?
Yes. People are excited to see you.
I'm glad to be here.
And
I'm glad they're excited.
Exactly. When you are a world-renowned philosopher like Trip Walton, folks are really excited to see you. And he's all decked out.
Yeah.
I don't like that shirt. You know why?
Why?
It seems like you're going to keep that longer because it fits you better. That means I'm not going to get it.
I'm growing into my shirts.
You're growing in your shirt.
Yeah.
How you doing?
I'm good.
You good?
Doing good.
Okay.
Springtime's here. Pollen's floating down. Everything's yellow.
The yellow crayons
Ugh.
in the air on the cars.
But it is fun. Spring is in the air.
Okay.
Officially here.
Okay. All right.
Probably
Well,
have snow next week. Supposed to have
You
some
right.
bad storms tonight.
Exactly.
So
And hopefully more pollen will be gone after this other storm
get some
comes
rain,
through.
knock it out, wash
Exactly.
it out.
Exactly. So can you tell the people why you're looking so sharp today, or is that something we need to save for another show?
I've got a court appearance, so I've got to throw on a tie and a jacket. And I had to be in court yesterday, got to be in court today, got to be in court tomorrow. Thursday, I've got to be in Tuskegee, Lafayette, and Auburn. I've got 7 or 8 different cases going at the same time. So
You got a private jet fueled up?
there's just nowhere to light it.
I hope you got a battery operated.
You can't light it.
You can't.
No landing.
Wow. But in situations like this, you probably wish you could go back to the Zoom court.
Yeah. Well, I think everybody's working with me. We're moving some stuff around, so
Okay.
the courts have been gracious.
Okay.
Thank
All right.
goodness.
All right, good. Everything's going great at the law firm,
As far as I know.
as far as you know?
I went in this morning, there's a bunch of lawyers there from Birmingham.
In your office?
Doing depositions,
Okay.
so it's active.
Okay.
And we're busy.
Okay, that's
Real
a good
busy,
thing.
that's good. Got the gym going full speed, so, no excuse in not getting in shape.
Mm-hmm.
So we're getting after it.
We're good.
Getting after
And if you want a fighter, what you need to do?
Run.
A new tagline to his old tagline.
We don't start the fights, we finish it.
Finish it. All right. So you got some good cases pending right now.
I hope so.
Well,
Hey,
if they were not good, you wouldn't be taking them
we
like you said.
We wouldn't be in them.
That's
That's right. We're being selective.
Okay. So hopefully, well, I know it'll pay off for you because you're just good at what you do. And you're successful
We
at
hope
what you
so.
do.
We hope so.
All right. Before we get into our, give you a little elevator speech about what you do at your law firm.
What I do. We do personal injury and wrongful death, primarily involving cars and trucks or trucks and trucks, crashes. We also do a ton of dog bite cases, but primarily injury cases or death cases.
Okay. All right.
And which means we don't represent a lot of people because hopefully you don't fall into those categories. But if you do, call us. We'll
Right.
help you. But people call about divorces, people call about deeds, people call about wills, people call about land lot disputes, people call about contracts, people call about employment issues every single day. And we just don't do those things. We're highly involved in what we do. We're
Right.
focusing on what we do, sort of as a boutique type law firm. But we have a list of people we give names to people, divorce lawyers, employment lawyers. I sent an employee that was having problems yesterday to a lawyer in Atlanta that we refer people to. I've got an employment lawyer in Birmingham we refer people to weekly. We got workers' comp lawyers in Birmingham we refer people to. So it's, we help people when they call when they're not specific to what we do.
Okay. All right. Well, it's the month of March, and a lot of people are mad right now.
Well,
especially the basketball team.
I knew better to fill out a bracket. I mean,
March Madness.
it's brackets gone down.
I couldn't believe it after how many perfect brackets there were. I don't know if it was Saturday or Sunday. It must have been Saturday. I just couldn't believe that people would pick Kentucky to lose and several other
I couldn't
people
believe
to
that
lose.
either. I couldn't believe there's any left, to tell you the truth.
Exactly. And so now there's none. There's no perfect brackets still left, right?
Right. And the only SEC team left is Arkansas, right?
I think so.
Yeah.
That's a
Had to be a Hog fan, I guess.
exactly. That's a bummer to a lot of people.
Yeah.
Of course, Auburn went down.
Well, you know, we had a problem with turnovers all year,
Mm-hmm.
and we had a problem with not with shooting, but with scoring. We're going to shoot. But when your two main flaws blossom in the NCAA tournament,
Right.
you got to go home.
You got to go home. Exactly.
And it wasn't
That's what it is.
surprising. I mean, we were either going to be on or off, and we were off.
Exactly. And this time of year, you got to be on.
You got to be on. You got
It's
to
not
be
necessarily
on.
the best team. It's the best team who's on.
On. Exactly. You got to be in your zone at the end of the season.
Mm-hmm.
And like I say, Arkansas could win it all. And they've done real good in the SEC in the last probably 7-8 games too.
Right. Right.
But they can win it all.
They can.
Any team. Did you see Gonzaga come back the other day?
I didn't get a chance to see that game.
That was very
So they had to
interesting.
come back.
Yeah, they had to come back. Timmy, their head guy,
Timmy.
the white guy with the band
beard,
around his head and
the
the
beard.
beard. They
Looked like
started
Abe
with
Lincoln.
11-0 run in the second half, and he scored all 11 points. And he was looking up in the stands like, bring it.
Bring it. Come
I
on,
mean,
baby.
he was on. I thought this is going to be very embarrassing if they don't win this game.
Exactly.
But of course, they came back and won it. And Duke's still in it, so some of the favorites are still around.
Who's your favorite now, or do you have any?
To win it all, I sort of, since Duke's coach is retiring,
I'm with you.
I'm sort of a Duke fan.
I want to ride out into the sunset
Yeah,
with him.
I'd like to see him do real well.
Exactly.
I'd like to see him win it all. But being an SEC person, and I have no love for Arkansas, normally, but I'd like to see them get in the Final Four, just because we think we're so bad.
Okay.
And then we get in bowl games, and we get in NCAA games, and sometimes we ain't as bad as we think we are.
Started out real good last year in football.
Oh yeah. And
then-
2 SEC teams did play, do the championship.
Right.
But still, when you get in those bowl games and you don't win them, we think we're supposed to win them all, and we're not even winning 50% sometimes.
Exactly.
So, I don't guess that really that
Okay.
doesn't really matter.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, it doesn't matter.
Some
I
good
mean,
news.
who remembers what happened last year anyway?
You're right. It's all about now.
I got a short memory.
The time is now.
Yeah, that's right.
Some good news at EAMC Hospital.
Only 2 COVID patients. That's amazing. That is an accomplishment.
It is.
It's just amazing how the world has changed on that issue. I'm always still shocked when I go in places and they want me to wear a mask.
I don't know. Some people just.
Some people wear
Just don't.
and I don't blame them because,
Right.
I mean, the flu's out there and other things. Pollen's out there, so the mask
It's
can help.
definitely a good time now.
Not to mention keep people from talking so much. But if I'm so deaf, I have a problem when they have on the mask, and I'm used to reading lips half the time that I can't understand a word they're saying.
Well,
So,
cool. And if I'm gonna be out in my yard right now, I'm gonna definitely have a mask on.
Absolutely. It's got some pollen going.
Yeah, pollination. So what? Tell us about the grilling event. Did you do a grilling event? Or
Yeah, we went up there Saturday to the the girls' ranch,
Okay.
and raised some money. And we were premium sponsors, so we put a little money in to help out.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they raised a lot of money. They had a little silent auction, had a bunch of folks eating steak
Oh,
at
steak.
the
No
Valley
chicken, steak.
Community Center, Sportsplex.
Okay.
So it was a good crowd.
Okay.
Then I had to rush back. I could only stay like 45 minutes. I had to rush back to a dinner party for my office manager's husband's birthday.
Okay.
So that was fun. And just go, 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 go.
Okay. Alabama's getting ready to get a lottery, huh?
Looks
Oh,
like
well, a bill advances. Y'all scratch. Hey, I didn't say that.
Yeah.
It's headed that way.
Well, you would hope we would do something to help avoid all the bad decisions we make otherwise. Anyway, without saying any more about that, I'm all for it.
You're all for it.
Yeah.
It's going to help. I know it help a lot with education and
Yeah.
some other things
I mean,
too.
if for no other reason,
Exactly.
for the love of God.
Because education is high.
Education needs help in Alabama.
It does. All right.
And there's no reason we shouldn't do it.
Is it? Okay. All right. So you're all for that.
I'm all for it.
Okay. And what do you think about
I probably
the new-
won't do it. I mean,
Right.
I won't buy a ticket or anything.
Right, right.
But, if they can raise money, and other states have done it, and other states, neighboring states are doing it, why not do it?
Exactly. Okay. What do you think about the new Supreme Court appointee? And
You
going
know,
through the trials
every
and-
time I've looked at the news lately, it's been about the war, and that's so depressing, I
Okay.
just cut it off. So I don't
It
know
is.
a lot about her, other than I'm sure she's sharp.
I caught it last night, just a little bit for the first time.
Yeah.
Well, no, I had to go and watch one of those previous recordings on CNN.
Yeah.
Just because when I saw her, I'm like, let me hear what she got to say.
Yeah. How'd she do?
She's sharp.
I figure she's sharp.
She's sharp.
Yeah.
Of course, you got to be sharp to even be recommended.
I mean, that's another league.
Yeah, it's another league.
It's another league.
Hey, what if the president came to you and asked what you would like to be on the Supreme Court? How would you respond to that?
I say, you know what, I appreciate the offer, but I'm doing just fine.
Doing just fine where I am.
You put those people where I am, they'd starve to death. You put me where they are, and they think I was stupid. So
Okay.
let's just keep it where we got it.
Keep where you got it. All right. Okay.
I'm in the street, and they're in the tower.
Exactly.
Ivory
keep it right.
Tower.
Ivory Tower. Wow. They make a big deal out of that.
Oh, yeah.
All that questioning and all that rigmarole you have to go through.
It's just, it gets ridiculous.
Have you ever known anybody to not get in?
Seems like to me there was one at the end of the Obama term that the Republicans blocked,
Okay.
who is now the Attorney General.
Okay.
I can't think of his
Okay.
name.
Okay.
So how quickly we forget.
All right. One of these favorite part of our shows, your motivational moment.
Woo, motivational moment.
Yes.
Let's start off. We're going to talk a little bit about the fear of failure. Don't fear failure.
Okay.
But fear is such a strong emotion that it affects everybody's life because people fear disease, people fear accidents, people fear war, people fear their boss, people fear going to school, getting fired. Fear is a humongous emotion.
Yes, it is.
And quite frankly, fear of failure can paralyze you so bad that you can't get started. So the question is, how do you get around that? Because also when you got fear, you got its twin sister, worry. And that ain't good. And it can ruin your life. It can make you unhealthy. It can make you sick. It can make you just implode. So I think you have to take it by the tail and enjoy it.
Okay. Enjoy.
I call it riding the lightning.
Okay.
Like when I would go up to Atlanta to fight, when I went up to Atlanta in '80 to fight in the Golden Gloves, but I had the 36th fight of the night. So I watched a lot of people walk around in the World Congress Center that I thought might be my guy, because I wasn't going to fight till after 1 o'clock in the morning. And I thought the horror of this, what in the world am I doing? I'm going to be in law school next year. I was between Auburn and Alabama. And it was the spring, I was graduating from Auburn. And here I was by myself up in Atlanta, going to have a 36th fight of the night. And I thought, this is just the horror. And I thought to myself, let's enjoy the horror. Let's ride the lightning. It's the opportunity of a lifetime to be up here doing this. I'm healthy enough to do it. I'm mean enough to do it. I came up here to hurt somebody. So let me do it. So you have to conquer your fear, I think, by trying to enjoy it. Like people that jump out of planes, parachuters. I mean, they're riding the lightning. I mean, it zings them. It zooms them. So, and another way to conquer fear is to be prepared. Because invariably, 3 days out from any scheduled fight I had in the ring, I would hit the panic button. And I would think, what in the world am I, this is crazy. And I would go get my workout calendar where I wrote down everything I did for the last 2 months getting ready for the fight. And when I looked at my calendar and all the time and work I put in and prepare, and same thing I do with trials now, I would look at it and I would say, well, what am I scared of? I mean, I'm prepared.
Right.
They're the ones that need to be scared. And then it was a whole other thing. I was intoxicated with the excitement of the whole thing. But you have to learn how to deal with that, and it's difficult to deal with it, and some people can never deal with it, but it's natural.
Yes, sir.
Fear is a natural emotion, and you just need to learn to ride the lightning.
Okay.
And enjoy it.
Enjoy it.
Have fun. And what's the worst that could happen? You could lose.
You can lose.
You might not get the job at the interview. You may not make an A on the test. You may make a C. I made a bunch of those. It's not a world stopper.
Exactly.
It's not a deal breaker.
Exactly.
So think about it and start working on conquering your fears, because fear can paralyze.
Okay. Well, there you go.
There you have it.
Get those insurance declaration pages out. We're going to
Let's talk a little insurance real quickly.
You want to go to the viewer questions, or want to go to the insurance?
I don't think we got.
Let's get to the insurance, and then we'll go.
Yeah, I don't think we got a viewer question that we got a comment, but we're not.
Okay. Okay.
All right. Let's talk about insurance coverage.
Car insurance.
We got our declaration page up there. You'll see automobile liability insurance, bodily injury, property damage. In Alabama and Georgia, you're required to have liability insurance.
Right.
and what you're required to have is 25/50. That's 25,000/50,000. And then you're required to have $25,000 each occurrence for property damage. Now let's talk about that real quickly.
Okay.
How little that is. If you injure somebody in a car wreck, you say you run the stop sign, you're looking at your phone, you don't see them, whatever, and you hurt them, most of the time their bills are going to be far in excess of $25,000.
Okay.
And certainly if you hit their car and all you have is $25,000 in property damage, I mean, you're upside down pretty quickly. So although the minimum limits required are 25, 50, and then 25 property, I would recommend getting at least 100/300 so you're not in the hole. And quite frankly, it's not that expensive. And it's a necessity if you go have a car and drive in a crowded community like we live in. I would definitely get more than the minimum, and I would make sure that I kept up with when the payments were due so it doesn't lapse on you.
Okay.
Now, let's skip over uninsured for right now and go to MedPay.
Okay.
MedPay, I see some people don't have any MedPay. Some people have $2,000 in MedPay. Some people have $2,500 in MedPay. Some people have $5,000. I carry $25,000 in MedPay. And MedPay pays for medical expenses to people in your car that are hurt in a crash, regardless of who's at fault. In other words, if you're going down the road and a deer runs out in front of you, and you dodge the deer and go off and hit a pine tree, and you hurt 4 or 5 people inside your car, your MedPay will cover up to the amount you have.
Okay.
Let's just say you have $5,000, it'll pay $5,000 typically for each injured party. Now, if they got health insurance, that can kick in and help too. But if they don't have health insurance, that's a problem. So that's why I would recommend at least $5,000 in MedPay. And sometimes in Georgia, I think it's called PIP coverage, PIP.
PIP.
It's the same sort of thing as we're looking at MedPay in Alabama. Okay, auto collision insurance. Collision, of course, means you've collided with something. So that would pay the actual cash value of your damages minus a deductible. And let me talk about a deductible before we go any further. A deductible is the amount that you have to pay before your insurance kicks in. So let's just say let's go to comprehensive insurance. Comprehensive insurance pays for damage to your car, like somebody steals something out of your car, if it floods and it runs the interior of your car, a tree falls on your car and stuff like that. Before the insurance company pays for your damages, you have to pay your deductible. So if your deductible is $1,000 and the damages is only $500 or $750, I mean, you're going to be paying.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yeah. And then you think, well, why did I have it in the first place? But you do need it. But let's back up to collision coverage. Obviously, is coverage for your damaged vehicle. If you're in a wreck, their company doesn't get on it quick enough, go to your company. If you've got State Farm and you've got collision coverage, let State Farm fix your car, then let them go after the other insured, the progressive insured, if they're jerking you around.
Okay.
A lot of people go to the insurance carrier, and the insurance carrier says, oh, no, you weren't at fault. We don't need to be in it. Well, they do need to be in it sometimes.
But people have feared that if they get a minute, that their premiums could go up. Is that
Well,
why they...
It can.
It can, okay.
But you know what? Every time I cut on the TV, I see about 30 different commercials for insurance companies. There's a lot of insurance companies out there.
You're right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So all you got to do is change companies.
Okay.
If they gig you, go somewhere else.
Okay.
But that, I wouldn't be scared to use my insurance because they might go up on my premium. I'd just go shop around and buy something, like I say, get something else. Rental reimbursement coverage, a lot of people do not cover that, and they don't know why they need it until they need it.
True.
But rental insurance coverage, of course, will get you in a rental car. A lot of people think the other party's supposed to get you in a rental car. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. It's very difficult to know how to deal with that. But rental coverage is available. You would get it for yourself primarily. Gap insurance. Gap insurance is when you're in a wreck and you owe money on your vehicle. A lot of people think when their car's totaled, even though they owe $50,000, they don't have to make the payments. Not so. You have to make the payments even though your car is piled up out there in the front yard and some uninsured person has hit you and they don't have any money. So you're not going to get it fixed. It's just sitting in the front yard, and you got to pay that note every month.
Wow.
Or, get into bankruptcy. So gap insurance comes in and pays what's due on the note. So you're out of it.
Right.
Which is not bad coverage. Every time I've seen it work, it's worked beautifully for
good.
my clients.
Okay.
But a lot of people do not have it. Now let's jump back up to uninsured motorist coverage. I would say this is probably, other than liability, which is required by law, uninsured and underinsured motorist coverage is probably the most important thing we see.
Okay.
It's insurance that you buy. It's not very expensive. I would get at least 100/300, and it will jump over to their car. Let's say they injure you and they only have $25,000 in liability insurance. So you get the 25. Well, if that's all they got, that's all you're going to get. But if you've got 100/300, you got immediately 100 on top of it. So that'd be 125. And if you've got up to 3, you stack in Alabama. Let's talk Alabama. You can stack up to 3 vehicles on one policy.
Okay.
If you got 3 on there, that's 300 that jumps over. So you got up to 325,000. I would never put more than 3 vehicles on one policy because you can't stack but 3 on one policy.
Okay.
In other words, if you got 4 or 5 cars, I would put 3 on one policy and 2 or 1 on the next one. So you can stack them in Alabama. Georgia's got different rules, and we don't want to get bogged down in the weeds on that. But
right.
Definitely, if you do not have underinsured motorist coverage, period, go to your insurance agent and ask them to explain it to you. And I would definitely recommend getting more than 2550. All right, so we got take it from the top. You're required to have the automobile liability insurance, $25.50. You're required by law to have that. Mm-hmm. Uninsured motorist, you're not required to have, but to me, it's probably the most important thing on there to help you and your family. And I'll give you an example. We had a client years ago who was hit on his lunch break. He went home to get a sandwich. He's going back to his work. He was hit by a young lady. She had $50,000. Well, the wreck actually caused him some serious problems. So he had insurance, underinsured insurance. He had $500,000
Wow.
on 2 cars. We stacked them. So we not only got the $50,000 from the lady who caused the crash, but he got $1 million because he had uninsured motorist coverage on his own vehicles. It jumped over onto the defendant's vehicle, and we got it. So I carry the largest amounts I can carry on every vehicle I got so I can stack. Now, another thing that's not on the deck page is an umbrella policy. An umbrella policy, you can get $1 million umbrella policy from a lot of companies from $250,000, $350,000 a year, one payment. If you've got a lot of assets, if you've just inherited a house that's paid for, and you need to protect it, I would definitely recommend talking to my insurance agent about an umbrella policy because they're really not that expensive, and they sort of protect you at least one time. You get one good, somebody comes after you.
They can't get your assets.
I think I have $2 million in umbrellas. And you could get an umbrella for your homeowner's policy too, but we're not talking about homeowners now, we're talking about cars.
Okay.
So anyway, your uninsured is very important. Your med pay is important. I would at least get $5,000. Collision coverage, of course, protects your car. Comprehensive with anything that's damaged in your car. Mm-hmm. Rental reimbursement, of course, is rental car coverage. And then your gap coverage is to pay off your loan.
Okay.
So if you hadn't done an update with your agent in quite some time, I would go do an update and see what you can do to protect yourself.
Just if you had a vehicle, just say if you had 2 nice vehicles, mm-hmm. and you had one vehicle that you just only have liability on it, it's like a little putt-putt or whatnot, would you still stack all 3 of those cars together?
I would never just have liability.
On even a putt-putt?
I would have uninsured because if you're in a wreck, you can stack it.
Okay, still. Okay.
Now, Georgia has some different stacking rules than Alabama. So you need, they have an offset over here. I would want the Alabama style underinsured motorist coverage, which you can get in Georgia.
Okay.
It's kind of weird. I don't know. But anyway.
Okay.
There's always weird stuff in the law. So if you have any questions about that, or anything we said, or if it was confusion, I probably was confusion. But ask us a question and we'll get specific with it if we need to.
And I know people, and like you said, you know, check with your agent, because you think getting all this extra coverage is just going to cost you a lot more money, but technically you can have a lot more for a little cost, is pretty much what you're saying.
Yeah. Well, and you know, the number one thing basically that puts people into bankruptcy is unexpected medical expenses.
Uh-huh.
And when you're in a major car wreck, you're going to have unexpected medical expenses.
Okay.
If you've got health insurance, of course, that's going to help some.
Okay.
But your underinsured motorist coverage would certainly help. Like I say, had my client not have 2 vehicles with $500,000 on each, all he would have got from that crash was $50,000, which wouldn't even cover his first couple of days in the hospital.
Wow.
So it's important to have underinsured motorist coverage.
It's interesting. I've never even heard of that until interviewing you on the show.
Yeah.
Because that's something.
And a lot, quite frankly, a lot of insurance folks don't sell it like I would.
Okay.
But I see what happens when they don't have it. For instance,
Yeah,
I can't tell you how many cases, death cases, even just this year, that we settled for only $25,000.
Death cases.
Death cases. Doesn't cover the funeral. You know?
Okay.
So that's hard to explain to a parent or a loved one, that when all you can get is $25,000.
Wow. So, yeah, it makes sense. You preach it while you preach it.
Yeah.
We got about 2 minutes left. I do want to mention this comment that they call her Miss B. We love what you're doing. And, of course, they didn't have a question but a comment. They was having a bad day on Friday, and they turned to the channel, and they listened to your encouraging words. They had just failed their real estate exam, and your words helped them to go for it again. And they just want to commend you on how you encouraged them to give it another shot.
I'm glad it helped.
Exactly. I know it's helping. Okay. And one last question: if people want to utilize your services,
they can call 334-321-3000 or go to www.waltonlaw.net. No, excuse me. We changed that.
Okay.
www.waltonlaw.com.
Oh, .com.
Yeah.
Okay.
After all these years, we went to .com. Don't ask me why.
Don't ask you why.
No.
Okay. All right. Well, as always, we appreciate you joining us and watching the show. And we will see you next time. Tell them bye, Trip.
Goodbye. And any questions you have about anything, send them to us and we'll get on them. We enjoy interacting with you.
We don't start the fight, we finish it.
Car accident, DUI, wrongful death? Contact the Walton Law Firm, 334-321-3000.